What's going on, everybody? It's David Piatek with VA Housing Education and Dwayne Kimball with KMD 89. Today, we have another great live event for you guys, answering questions around the VA home loan and all the craziness that's happening with that, and the VA home loan. The VA home loan claims process. That's a whole separate thing, man. Nothing that even exists right now. But the VA disability and claims process, because it's continuously evolving. And I've heard there's some changes that I actually have some questions for you because, working with clients across the country, they're like, hey, should I do this? Should I do that? So I actually have some good questions for you. For everyone that's out there that's joining us for the first time, David Piatek, I'm a loan officer with Waterman Bank. And I also have VA housing education because we do a lot of education for the veteran community around using the VA home loan, right? Because a lot of times veterans get taken advantage of. But this is like a good space for you to ask questions so Dwayne and I can answer them, because even when Dwayne has questions about VA home loans, he talks to me. I have disability questions, I'm talking to Dwayne. And that's how we met, actually, just kind of being able to help each other out. So I'll let you introduce yourself, Dwayne.
Yeah, Dwayne. Yeah, Dwayne Kimball, United States Army veteran and retired VA rating specialist. And I always say retired VA rating specialist, and I don't think some people know what that means. So let me just give you a brief description. If you ever applied for benefits with VBA, Veterans Benefit Administration, and you received a rating decision in the mail, I was trained by the VA to write those. Okay, that was the only job I hired in. At the Department of Veterans Affairs and as a rater, and that's the only job that I had. I only adjudicated claims. So, like David said, my YouTube, KMD 89 VA Claims Consulting, and this is the information that I'm bringing you, is basically what some veterans fail to realize, Dave, I'm giving you the blueprint. Okay. Yeah. The VA trained me and all this information. Now I'm giving it to you here on YouTube for free. Just got to follow the blueprint. So, looking to kick things off today and get some questions answered. Yes, dropping nuggets. I started saying that in my videos. Hey, just drop the nugget. Did you catch it?
Yeah, there's been actually, you know what? A lot of people have been starting to use that. I actually also use it when I do my videos or any kind of live events asking. So, but definitely, if you guys have questions, drop them in the comment section so we can kind of go through them. But Dwayne, I believe this one, what's this one? Burned, $194,000 house, $1 down. 4 people are involved in fraud, small cell cancer, and 1 has a PET scan. The house payments. Let's do. Yeah, not sure on this question. If you can re-clarify it, I could definitely help you out and answer any of those questions. We do have a good question here. Want to take out equity? What is the best plan? Ooh. So there's definitely, Wait, you know about this. We talked about this, right?
We just talked about it. Yeah.
we just talked about that.
Yeah, you walked me through it.
Yeah. So right now it's kind of tricky overall, because if you look at the landscape of rates, if you have a lower interest rate, you want to pull some equity out, what starts to make sense and what doesn't, right? So if you need an equity line of credit for, let's say, $50,000 to $100,000, so really anything $100,000 or less, you could just get what's called a home equity line of credit, where it's a 30-year mortgage, but the first 10 years it's like a credit card, right? You can draw on it as you please, right? So you need, let's say you get $100,000 line of credit, you need $5,000 to do something. You can just write a check for $5,000, and now all of a sudden you can start making payments on that $5,000, right? First 10 years are interest only, and then it re-amortizes, and you can pay that $5,000 back right away, or take out the $5,000, take out another 5, 10, whatever that you need, right? There's no minimum. So even if you need $50, you could still take out money against the home equity line of credit. So Chris was mentioning he needs $50,000 to do it. Then definitely a home equity line of credit is the way to go. If you don't need all that 50,000, if you need all the 50,000 at once, then I would recommend getting a HE loan. That's a home equity line of credit, but it's a home equity loan, right? It's a fixed second mortgage. So it's definitely typically going to be a lower rate than trying to get a full refinance, right? Because
Right.
especially if you got like anything under five, uh, definitely look into getting a HE loan or a HELOC. Typically, you can schedule a call with me. I'll look at anything that you have. And like Dwayne knows, I'm pretty honest. Like if you get a better deal somewhere else, especially HELOCs, I'll tell you, work with them because we got to look at the cost structure of it, right? We want to
Right.
make sure that it's beneficial for you to be able to actually do that. Actually,
And
this I guess. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
and real quick, David, um, what I did here just recently, you gave me some good advice. You said, "Hey, shop around, call," and that's what I did. Like, hey, go to your local bank. I have a local credit union that I use here in the Florida area, and I've been banking with them for over 10 years. They made the process super simple. I called them up, they walked me through the application process, and I went through Navy Federal at the same time. They did a soft pull, and guess what? I closed with my own credit union uh, about a week and a half ago, and Navy Federal was still messing around. And I told him, I said, "Hey, I'm good. Don't worry about it." And the guy was like, "Oh no, we need this, 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 this." And one crazy thing, he was like, "Oh, we did a survey. You got solar panels on your house. We need to make sure that give us the bill. We need your electric bill." And they got that
Right?
confused with some hurricane windows that I put in because there was like I can't think of the name of it. They didn't get the notice of termination because the builder had did a permit or something. And I'm like, we finished that last year and they're still messing around. And so I'm going to file a compliance complaint because I'm like, wait a minute, you all just trying to deny me because I already told you I don't need the loan, you know. So if you deal with Navy Federal Credit Union, it was fairly easy until about halfway through the underwriting process, and then they were like, "Oh, we need this." I'm like, "Okay," so I'm gonna send them like an X-ray of my ankle with those other documents. Yeah,
Yeah, there was some kind of speaking of them, I know that there was some kind of lawsuit against them for like housing discrimination.
right.
Um yeah, not too long ago. But yeah, definitely, work figuring out who to work with can be tough. But that's why, like, even when you came to me, Dwayne, I'm like, hey, let's try to not work with me on this because like you just get a better deal, right? If
Right.
it's like a first mortgage, VA loan, any of those, yeah, we'll definitely be super competitive and you can't beat that. One question that I'm gonna kind of skip around some of the questions just because they were kind of related together. This one is home equity line of credit. How and where do you apply for that? So
Mhm.
typically, local banks are the ones that you're going to want to apply with. And I'll tell you this, if you don't need any money, this is the time to apply for it because a HELOC, let's say you qualify for $100,000. Let me back up a second. When you need money the most, to give it to you. When you don't need money, for some reason, everybody wants to give you money, right? It's just the way that life works. So, a HELOC is a great way just to have a backup plan, right? If you qualify for 200,000, take out a loan for 200. But when I say that, a HELOC, you are not required to draw that any money out when you get that HELOC. So you could just have a zero balance, pay almost no closing costs, and still be able to leverage that. So yeah, definitely take a look at all of those things as you're getting into this. We had a comment here, Mr. Kimball. Thank you for all that you do.
Appreciate it.
Yes, I don't know. We have neat. Yep.
All right. Yeah. There we go. There we go. Good luck with that.
No, no. This
The
one is
blueprint.
for you.
Just send a FOIA request. How long does it generally take? There's no time frame. There's no generally when you're dealing with the VA. No, that's does it generally take to receive claims file? Now, what you need to be asking is, Dwayne, have you done a video on how to get it faster? And I've done two. One I just uploaded, I think last week or the week before, and there is, I just recorded it right before I jumped on here, but there's another video on my channel. If you go and just type in documents, it should be a guy with with some binoculars or something with big eyes at the front of the binoculars. And I'm showing you how to go to the VA's website, log in, and download every document that they ever sent you. Simple. But people have, when you go in, same way with David's channel, go to YouTube, go to our YouTube channels and type in a topic, a keyword or something on our YouTube channels. More than likely, we've already done a video on it.
Yeah. Because you have a lot of, how many videos, Dwayne, do you have up on your channel?
I've been saying I have over 450 videos for the
Oh,
last
wow.
6 months. So I don't know if I'm at 500 yet.
I gotcha. I gotcha. I just
Uh,
crossed the 200 mark on
okay,
videos.
okay, all right,
So yeah, it
okay,
definitely takes time to get all those things up. So thank you for the shout out
all right.
on
Oh
this.
yeah,
All
oh yeah.
right. That's for you.
You just make sure you know, familiarize yourself with what the first thing. If you had appeals, it could be the effective date, the percentage, or denial. If it's a denial for service connection, you have to go back and look at that condition and say, where does it fall under the 5 ways of service connection? If it doesn't fall under the 5 ways of service connection, you're going to get denied. But if it does, what evidence was of record and what fact or law are you going to argue? There it is. 38 CFR, a court case, or M21-1. If you did a high level review, it's in the M21-5.
That's awesome. Let me ask you this. I have a question.
Mm-mm. Oh,
What I've heard of these 1 day VA decisions.
no, no. That's YouTube clickbait. Now,
They're not.
YouTube clickbait.
Oh, all right.
Not everybody. The fastest that I ever rated a case is in 1 day. And this is how it happened. And I did a video talking about this. And uh, I used to work out of the St. Petersburg, Florida regional office. Okay. And they had what was called an FDC clinic, a fully developed clinic. It was a pilot, and it was the only one like it in the country. So I had a Vietnam veteran come in one day. I still remember because he came a couple of times. He would always wear sandals, had long ponytail, and always would read a book in the waiting room. I remember that. I don't know why. Real nice guy. Real, very nice. Did I think 2 combat tours he was telling me. But anyway, back like the PACT Act, when they enacted the PACT Act, they gave a list of conditions. Well, back in 2010, they added 3 conditions to the Vietnam Agent Orange list. And one of those was IHD, ischemic heart disease. So he comes in and Vietnam service is verified. He has a 526EZ prescribed claim form and a DBQ. I look at it. Yep, the DBQ is good to go. Verified Agent Orange, Vietnam. I went back over to the regional office, had the VSR that sets the EP, that sets the EP. I had about an hour and a half before it was time for me to go home. I rated that case right there on the spot before I went home. And that was like in a 2-hour period. Now, even if they have clinics where you can come and bring paperwork, they probably will not rate that case the same day because they got other veterans behind them. But
Gotcha.
sometimes, depending on the evidence to submit it, the current backlog at that regional office, how it goes through the process, but getting a claim, multiple claims done in 1 day, unless it's a clinic like where I worked at and we had time to do that, it's highly unlikely.
Gotcha. Well, good. Thank you for that. Yeah, there's just a lot of stuff that goes out there.
So I filed more claims while at 100% PNT for 9 years. I always say that's up to the veteran. If you're 100% permanent total, you're fine with that, fine. The question I think you need to be asking, do I need to? And one of the reasons I've seen, we had a client and Vietnam vet had diabetes. Well, before they came out with Blue Water, Agent Orange Blue Water, he was previously denied for diabetes, even though he was offshore. He was in the Navy. They only had brown water. So when they inactive blue water. Now he qualified for diabetes, and he came back
Oh,
in. He was already 100% permanent total and claimed it. And I asked him, I say, well, sir, why would you want to claim, you're already 100%? He said, Dwayne, DIC. And I knew
yeah.
immediately what he was saying. He said, I'm going to pass away from my diabetes. That's how bad it is. I know there's going to be the death of me, and I want my wife to be able to get DIC. And I was like, there it is. But he was already 100% permanent total. We had a conversation. He knew what he was doing. He poked the bear. He ran the bear over with his car, and he won. So, some people say, oh, don't poke the bear, don't poke the bear. It's a matter of why you're going to poke the bear. And if, like Dave said, if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but that's actually a very good point with the DIC piece because there's like a whole bunch of rules for, like, let's say for that benefit for the VA home loan to pass on to your spouse, right? There has to be criteria that's met. Now, I did a video on it not too long ago about surviving spousal benefits because there's
Mhm.
different ways and criteria that have to be met to actually qualify for this.
Right.
So check out the video on the channel. It's VA housing education. So yeah, thank you for that. But yeah, that was a good reminder because I was thinking to myself, like, well, why would you go back? But like, yeah, if you have a strong enough case, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Next one is, are there any special programs or discounts for someone who already owns a home who is 70% service connected? Great
Mm.
question. So depending on what state you're in, you potentially can qualify for property tax breaks. Now you really need to check the state and local, like the state laws and county laws, because like let's say in Georgia, there's no state law, it's county based, right? So that's why you have to look at that. In Florida, it's also based on the county, and on top of that, each county is going to have a different requirement. Like some will be have
Mhm.
an income limit, some will let you get a discount if your effective date for your disability is like 2 or 3 years behind and you've already owned the home. You can actually get a refund of that money on top of getting your back pay from the VA. Okay, so you have to look at each individual state and county for those benefits. And I also did a whole video on how to actually search for these benefits. The other piece to that is that, and I also dropped a video this week about if you bought a home, you closed on it. Actually, let me give you an example because otherwise it'll be complicated. Let's say you filed your intent to file in November of last year, okay, and you bought a home in January. You still were charged a VA funding fee. But today you got a disability rating and the effective date was for back in November. But you closed after your effective date for your disability. Then you can call the VA to get a refund of your VA funding fee. And normally they just write you a check and send it to you.
But you know what you just said, Dave? You dropped a huge nugget, and I bet you nobody caught it.
Mm-mm.
If you are, let's say you're 100% permanent total right now, you get a decision today, and you say, wait a minute, the effective date is wrong. My 100% permanent total is supposed to go back 2 years. You've been paying
Yeah,
taxes on that home for those past 2 years. So now you have a new effective date. So you
right.
need to take that down to the county and say, hey, can I get that property tax portion that I paid? I know here in Florida for a fact, I live in Hillsborough County. Hillsborough County would do it. The county just north of us, Pasco County, they don't do it. So, like Dave said, check the county. So, a lot of people in here, if you're 100% permanent total, look at that effective date and go back and see. Wait a minute, the VA went back, a year or two, and I think Hillsborough they let you get up to 3 years back pay. So, if you're 100% permanent total and you decide to, appeal it and you win, and that effective date goes back, check with your county because you could be getting some money. It's not a lot unless like in Calabasas, California or something, and they allow you to get that back pay property tax that you already paid, but it's something.
Yeah. And another nugget that was dropped in there is that if you're currently in the home buying process and you haven't filed your intent to file, that is your clue to please
Ding, ding,
use
ding.
the internet. Actually, I think you can call. Because
No,
when I did mine, I called.
Dave, I'm gonna tell you how simple it is.
What is it?
800 eight
Okay.
two seven 1000. Yep, this Dwayne Kimball, this VA. Yep, yep. How can we help you? I would like to do an intent to file for compensation. Give them a minute. Okay. Now, 24 hours goes by. The next day, 800 827 1000. Hello, VA. This is Dwayne. Can you confirm that I have an intent to file for compensation? Yes. Can you give me the date? Oh, June 19th. Okay. Has a correspondence already been sent out? They should tell you yes or no. Because when you get that correspondence, you want to put it in your file. Because if
Yes.
they screw up that effective date, now you have proof. Good point, David. Man, Dave dropping these nuggets tonight. I need to step my VA housing loan information
Man,
knowledge up a little bit.
we've been doing this for a while now. Now I'm starting to be like, all right, I know what's going on.
Yeah,
Yeah, because like that's the tough part. Like because and then you from there you have a year to actually submit the claim, and then
right.
from there it takes about a year to do. So, I mean, even if you get a remember, even if you get a 10% rating, that's all you need to get that money back. And trust me, average price point of a home is I think it's 460,000 now. So let me get my trusted
Wow.
calculator out, right? So first
Oh, is that
400.
a Tandy calculator from Radio
No,
Shack?
man, it's an HP 12C. It's like an old school bank
Hey,
calculator. I've had this
everybody,
forever.
hey, everybody that's here tonight, make fun of David's Radio Shack
Like I got a
Tan-
pocket protector.
Tandy Tandy calculator.
That's funny. So let's say, for example, you bought a $460,000 property, average price rent across the country. You used the VA loan before, you had subsequent VA loan fee. You would have paid about 14 and a half thousand in the VA funding fee. Okay. Your disability comes through. Now you get, from what I've seen, most of these people just get a check for that amount. And you can do whatever you want with that money. So it's a game changer for a lot of families. And if you can get a high enough, like we were talking about, to get disability, then it's also um, a good thing to be able to get through. So thank you for that. I have one question here. Hello, wife. Let me think. All right, good question. So, using a VA loan to buy a multifamily, that alone is going to take an hour discussion. But on this week, on Monday, we did an hour long how to purchase a property with a VA home loan. So, I think to kind of Dwayne, it goes back to what Dwayne was talking about. We'll answer a lot of the questions, but if you guys go to our YouTube channel, because we have a lot of these questions answered, and a lot of times they're very specific to you. Like we're both good at, hey, this is how it works. This is how what you can do. This is the flexibility something or unflexible something might be. But then it's going to be based on your individual situation.
Right.
That's why it's better if you schedule a consultation with us down below. Also, you go to the YouTube channel and the website, which is listed here. We'll help you to walk you through that because there's a ton of benefits for multifamily. Typically, you qualify for like 3 or 4 times more with a multifamily, um, just just because of especially if you have reserves, because you can actually use rental income to qualify. And I see people build empires with VA loans or other loan products and purchase multifamily while they're still in or they're out because there's no time limit on using your VA loan. We did a conference not too long ago at the VFW, and they're like, I already used my VA loan. I can't use it anymore. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It's a life benefit. You can use it unlimited times. In fact, you can have unlimited loans.
Well, Dave, how does it work? Because I have a rental property, and one of the issues I ran into with Navy Federal Credit Union, they tried to use that total mortgage against my credit debt ratio. And I'm like, no, I have a lease. So you all can't use that full amount. And then the guy comes back and is like, "Oh yeah, the underwriter says you were right." But if I didn't know that, they just would have used it. So with a multifamily home, so like a duplex, you're going to stay in one, and you're going to rent the other one out for this, even though you don't have the property, but you know what you're going to rent it out for. Can they in turn use that entire? Well, I guess it really, I don't know if that makes sense because it's you
No,
don't
it
own the
does,
home
it
yet.
does. Yeah, so it let's say, for example, you're buying a 4-unit property. You can use 3 of the units potential market rents to qualify if you have 6 months of principal, interest, tax, and insurance in a checking account or savings or money market or 401k. Okay. So you
Oh,
can multiply.
say that again, Dave. If you have what?
So if you have 6 months of reserves, which is your mortgage payment. So if your mortgage payment is 5,000 a month, you need to have 6 months
Oh,
of reserves in order to use it when you're buying a property. Now, Dwayne, when you're to your case, this actually does happen to a lot of veterans. So I kind of want to warn people is that there's plenty of times where veterans have rental properties and they're like, I have a rental lease. And they're like, well, we can't use any of that income. Number one. On top of that, we actually have to take income away from you for that rental property because when you do your taxes with the government, it's all about how you put that in your tax returns.
yeah.
So it's unfortunate because I see so many times veterans get denied for something because they wanted to save a little bit, like a little bit of money on their taxes and then end up just biting them and they weren't able to buy it. Then you have to go back and amend the taxes. So
Yeah.
just be careful with that piece.
So
And your
what about?
VA
Go ahead. I was
yeah,
going to
VA
ask.
disability.
Arr, arr,
I'll
he's
finish
gonna
this
arr,
off.
arr,
All
arr.
right. So your VA disability back pay will count towards reserves for this money you've had. And if you're buying another property and you want to buy a VA loan, like if you have a current VA loan, you're like, well, my rate's really low. You can get a HELOC to actually put a down payment on a VA loan if you need it because you
Hmm.
exhausted your entitlement. But that's like a whole separate video on that. Go ahead, Dwayne.
Well,
Sorry.
so let's say a veteran is 100% and they're getting $4,000 a month.
Mm.
Okay. How is that marked up? I know you had talked about that before. How do they mark that up for
So
income?
for income, so they gross it up 25%. Now, there's a lot that goes behind that, okay, on how to do it. So let me see, about sometime recently, I did how much can you afford with 100% V disability?
Hmm.
So the short answer to that is if you have really good debt management, about $400,000. And if you want to buy a multifamily, about $1 million just on 100% PNT compensation. And I also have like a link in there for an Excel sheet you can download because people keep requesting to get access to it, but I can't give access because then it would show everyone's financial picture. So you just download the Excel sheet and you can actually play around with it.
Okay.
Yeah. So
You say that
it's
the spreadsheet is in that video
yeah,
description
it's
of the
like
video?
in that video you'll be able to download it. Yeah, someone had a question. Something Nate has issues. Oh yeah. Let's see what this one is. This one's for you.
Can I have my own neurologist for? I have to go look at that there because there is specific criteria for who can do the TBI claim. I know initially it has to be someone certified through the VA, either VA CMP examiner or third party. I don't know if it's an increase if you can have it done. I would have to go and look at that, but there is criteria in the M21-1 that covers that.
Awesome. I think that's kind of like the follow-on question was that
Specific principle.
what should I expect to see me?
You know what? Go to the neurological rating criteria. TBI is diagnostic code 8045. There are things called facets. You need to familiarize yourself with them because that's what you need to be covering, explaining to the examiner in the CMP exam. Migraines slash headaches is a common complication of TBI. You can get 0, 10, 30 and 50%. Familiarize yourself and get, you know what? I got a video on my channel, migraines, how to win your claim for migraines. That's it. I haven't done one for TBI, but migraines is there. But definitely go to the neurological body system in the VA rating scheduler, neurological diagnostic code 8045. You can also go to the M21-1, and I have a video to show you how to search the M21-1 and just type TBI in all caps, and all the information in the M21-1 will come up on TBI.
Yeah, because I know that they do a special exam, but it's standardized for
Yeah,
TBI. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So if you go in, like it's a standardized test that they give
yeah.
you,
But
memory test.
I'll
Yeah.
give you a nugget. If you go in there and you say that you didn't get knocked unconscious, you ain't hear from me. I'm just saying. More than likely, they're going to deny you.
Don't you have to have it documented that you were unconscious?
Not unconscious, but you have to have something like you were in a IED explosion. Even if you show combat, because you have some type of injury, it still has to be documented. They could concede it. Sometime then, if they do concede it, then the doctor's going to look at, okay, have you been getting any type of treatment? It was just something following that. If there's nothing, then they say, oh, you didn't get knocked unconscious. They probably, I'm not going to say they will, but I know that's one of the questions that they do ask. Some
That,
examiners ask anyway.
yeah, for sure. Question: is there any special programs for someone who already owns a home at 3.25? No, congratulations, though.
Mm-hmm.
The only programs that are available right now is if you own a home, but you're in going through the foreclosure process because you wanted to do a loan modification. They have like a VASP program where the VA is purchasing mortgages and giving veterans a 2.25 interest rate because they missed out on being able to refinance because shockingly the VA had some misled information for folks. So, and then we did touch that potentially you might be able to get some tax breaks. Now, the next time you buy a property, you're not going to pay the funding fee. And again, depending on your disability rating for the property taxes, just note that the property tax exemption only applies to one property, which is your primary residence. Now, if you're dual military, dual 100% PNT, or whatever the state requires, and you own two different homes, technically each spouse can have their own residence, but you can't, like that, which can happen, right? I've seen it. But if you try to get crafty and be like, oh, both of these are primary residents, but you rent out the other property, you put that on your taxes, guess what? You've just created evidence against yourself. So please don't do that. All right. We had the good one. Someone who actually, we talked about the C file, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
Someone had a good question. Hi, gents. Dave, my COE shows my basic entitlement 0. I am still in my first VA loan. VA loan is less than half the Fannie Mae limit. Should remaining entitlement be Fannie Mae less VA loan? All right, so that's a good question.
You know who Chris is, right? He was on a
Chris.
live stream. He came back.
Oh
On
yeah,
the second
yeah.
time.
Oh, he's trying to he's you know what he's doing? He's challenging us just to make sure that we know what we're talking about. So I appreciate that, Chris. Keep challenging us. I love it. All right. So what this is actually a good one. I'll be able to kind of run a couple things with this. Is one, if you took out an original loan for 500,000 and your current mortgage balance is 200,000, you have locked out $500,000 of your equity. I mean, 500,000 of your benefits. Just because you pay down the mortgage, you don't change the amount of entitlement you have locked into a property. The same thing goes if you did an interest rate reduction refinance loan, your entitlement did not change. Furthermore, if you pay off your mortgage, your entitlement still will be $500,000 in this example. It doesn't change. Now, we can go down a whole rabbit hole of different things you can do, but if you use your entire entitlement to purchase a property, meaning that you don't have any entitlement left, then if you'd want to buy a home today and use a VA loan, you would have to do a 25% down payment. Because technically you can have unlimited VA loans. So if a veteran, could build an empire, because if you could just save enough money, have good credit, low liabilities, buy a house, fix it up, refinance it into a VA loan, as long as you had 25% equity, you would still keep your full entitlement. Then you go buy another property, use a different loan, refinance it into a VA loan. And then again, refinance it because now you've improved it. Now you have 25% equity. I see people do this. It is unreal on how much money these people can make, because there's no limit on how many VA loans you have. You have a max entitlement, but you can keep going because you can keep putting down payments. So a lot of cool stuff with that. If you have questions, Chris, thank you again for letting us know. Someone has knowing the interest rates are fluid. Do you have a ballpark estimate what interest rates are on the HELOC? Now, HELOCs, I definitely are way all over the place. They're like can range from 8 or 7s all the way up to 13-14%. It depends on your credit, your loan to value, type of property. It's gonna, on the where you live, because there's no such one thing I want to note. There's no such thing as a conventional home equity line of credit. Fannie is talking about implementing something like this so lenders can do them. But right now, local banks do their own portfolio loans on these HELOCs. That's why the criteria is all over the place. The requirements is all over the place. There's no standardization of that. But that's a good question, because I would want to know too. But you could be like, Dwayne, hit me up and be like, hey, David, take a look at this. Does this make sense? And I'll be like, yep, this makes sense. Or I'll tell you, nope, this doesn't. Right. So you're going to get a yep or nope. And then, or I'll tell you, go look at some other options. So thank you. Abby, I have 2 CMP exams next week. Thank you, gentlemen. Yeah, of course. Good luck on everything.
Oh yeah.
Dwayne, for you?
Come Chris again. I want to have
Yeah,
fast.
buddy. It's testing us,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. They came out. I did a video, and I know you know this, Chris, on that act. VBA is not going to act fast on that. Okay. So what I've been telling veterans to do is I did a video, I think it was last week, and not a video. I did a video earlier, maybe about a month ago, and then I interviewed a veteran, and I think I posted it last week. And he followed what I talked about in the video. Submit your FOIA request. This is going to be a lot faster than this Wounded Warrior Access Act, because if you're going to wait on that, no telling when VBA is going to get around to it. So they submitted the FOIA request, 800-827-1000. Hey, VA, have you received my FOIA request? Yes, we have it on file. Thank you. Watch my video. Call the VA White House hotline complaint. Do what I talk about in that video. And when I did that, I got my claims filed in like 2 weeks. And this veteran that I interviewed, I think he said it took him around a month, a little less than a month. And he followed exactly what I did. And look at the comments, Chris, for that video. And you'll see people saying, hey, Dwayne, I'll follow it. It worked. It worked. Now, I'm not saying it's going to work for everybody, but hey, it's worth a shot. The rating schedule has changed for what I am 100% PNT. For do you think the VA will try to? Okay, Ninja, that's clickbait. Stop watching fake YouTube videos on this. Okay. If it's the very Pacific, if you come in and it shows improvement, okay, then they have to look at how long that percentage has been in effect. I did a video on that. Okay. Just like they just changed the digestive system, some of the criteria for, I think, 50 conditions in the digestive system, body system. And in that video, I explained, they break it down. If you come in and it shows improvement, they look at the old criteria. If it shows improvement on the new criteria, you're good. But before you even file that claim or do anything with it, you need to know this before you even think about submitting the claim. But if you're sitting there, you're watching the video and they're saying, oh, don't do this because they'll do that. That's clickbait Go to the VA's website, understand what your service connected for, what is the criteria per the diagnostic code for the next highest percentage, and do you qualify? If you don't qualify, why even file a claim? But if you're 100% permanent total and you don't do anything, then your grandfather, we don't, when I was a Raider, they didn't say, okay, for the next 365 days, we're going to go through every single veteran's claim folder and see if their condition improved. And we're not going to work on anything else. It doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way.
I get that. Annette, thank you.
All
The
right.
super
Hey,
sticker.
Annette.
Oh yeah, she's always on. She's awesome.
Yeah. When you submit new and relevant evidence for supplemental claim, my claim say compensation issue. What does that mean? I don't know. Where do you see compensation issue? Actually, I just recorded a video today showing people how to go to the Waves website, check the status of the claim, and show you the meaning of the decision status and appeal status. What does it mean? And in that link, it's going to break down what each status means. Okay, you got to keep in mind every claim is different.
Yeah, for sure.
So what I think may be a compensation issue may not really be the issue.
What is the criteria on a joint VA home loan? So for the folks that don't know, that there is a regular VA loan and there's also a joint VA home loan. A joint VA home loan is like two veterans. So Dwayne and I, we want to purchase a property together. Well, we would split our benefits and we can purchase a property together. Also, if a veteran and a non-veteran, non-spouse, right? Because if you're married, then it's just you're just using the VA loan like normal. But if you have a veteran and a non-veteran, the non-veteran is required to do a 12.5% down payment because the VA guarantees 25% of the loan. So the non-veteran has to cover half of that. And VA does also allow non-occupied co-borrowers because other loans allow it. And this gets really tricky. So, but again, requires a 12.5% down payment. So let's say your parents co-sign for the VA loan, which they can, 12.5% down payment, and then you both are qualifying to use the VA home loan. So it's also a little bit different in the sense that not only does the lender have to do the pre-approval, do the underwriting, the VA has the final authority to actually authorize that, and they do have some exceptions to that. So just be careful with that. This one's good.
Hey, Dave, before we move on,
Yeah.
Chris said we got 63 people watching and 4 likes. People, let's get these likes up.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's get these likes up. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, this one's for you, back pay.
Oh, I poked and got 4 years back pay. It's okay to poke when you are extremely sure. That's it. That's what I tell people. And guess what? I did a video on how to poke the bear. Did a video
awesome.
on it. So
And that, thank you. Yeah, she's got
appreciate
a
it.
follow-up question on that.
Yeah.
Can a person purchase a home outside the USA using their VA home loan? So you can technically, if it's the territories like Puerto Rico, Guam, like a couple of the places. Now, what you can do, like somebody that I know is doing, is using the equity in their current property to purchase a property overseas. So no, you can't use a VA loan to buy a house overseas. But if you have a house here and you have enough equity, you can get a HELOC or a HE loan against your current property and use it to buy a property overseas.
There it is.
Yep.
There it is.
Yeah, someone had a question. I wonder about overseas loans, which is a lot of people do, but you just really have to be able to leverage what you have. Chris is another one.
Yeah, I've actually, heard of that as well. So if you, I think I think I actually used that one time where they they did a escrow analysis,
Mhm.
and they had actually I've seen it and heard veterans use it when they do become 100% permanent total. and depending on when it is, then you go back to your mortgage company and say, hey, one's supposed to be paying that portion or that money taken out for the taxes or whatever. They do that analysis, and I've heard veterans getting up to like 3 or 4 grand back, depending
Oh,
on
it
where
could
they
be a
live.
lot. Yeah, it could be a lot. Oh, so that's a good thing. So once you get your disability rating and you qualify for the tax exemption, one, lenders every month typically are going to hold your taxes and insurance on your behalf in an escrow account. So when taxes are due, they make that lump payment, right? So some states are quarterly, some are every 6 months, some are once a year. So if you're in a once a year area, so let's say you started paying in January and your taxes are 1,000 a month. July, you've made 7 payments, $7,000 is in there. You get your disability, and then you show the lender, hey, lender, my tax bill is $0. Now they're going to update your actual mortgage payment and give you a refund of that $7,000 as an example. Plus, if you live in a county that back pays, you can get an additional 2 or 3 years of back pay for that. So that's a great question. Yeah. So keep that in mind. I think this one is for you.
I'm 100% permanent told, 70% connected, and the remainder unemployability. Now this has got 14 years. Will stay same when I'm 90 years old, or do I file a new claim? I'm confused with the question. What would you be filing a new claim for? If you're 100% P&T through IU, you're 70%, but you've
Yeah.
been they granted you IU. So what would be the new claim?
Yeah.
If you don't, I don't know if you're thinking about what we talked about earlier, why veterans will come in and file a new claim. Um, if it's a condition you know that you can get service connected for, and that's going to be possibly the conditions that you're going to pass away from, then yeah, I've seen veterans come in and get service connected for those, just for their spouses to get DIC.
That's awesome. I like this comment. You answered this about multifamily in the 12-hour live event about 2 months ago. So, yes,
But
everyone, go back
but
to
at
the
what
12
what what
hour,
time period? What time period did he answer? Was it an hour in, or was it 6 hours in?
like 24 minutes in. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, yeah, when was it in that thing?
Yeah,
Yeah, we gotta definitely do one, not a 12-hour one. I think we did 12 hours just to prove that yes,
it
we
can be
can do
done.
it. But I think more of like a 4-hour one would be
Yeah.
fun to do. And I think maybe in the fall when people are not outside enjoying warm weather and probably having some beers tonight. This one's for you.
Does the VA back pay SMCT claim? Already SMCL waiting for decision. Yeah, because SMC stands for special monthly compensation, and it's additional payout on top of whatever percentage that you have. So if you are granted it, and let's say you put in an intent to file and you claim some things and you got service connected for those, and you got SMCT, that effective date for SMCT should follow for the whatever conditions that you got. I was approved 100% in 2017. Just noticed a closed out in 1999 claim has a local hearing notice. You will be notified by a separate letter of the date and time your hearing is scheduled. Never got the appointment. You can call and 800-827-1000 and ask them for EP number. Is there any, if you don't have a pending claim that you know of, ask them, is there any EP? Because tell them what you just wrote here. And if there's been an EP assigned, if there's an EP assigned out there, I don't know which ones they use. I know when I was there, they had 020s, 930, 600s. Ask them what the EP number is and what is that EP for.
Oh, awesome. This one's for me. My first VA loan is being sold under a land contract to be paid off next July. 100% PNT. I own a property free and clear with septic, a well, and power, and want to build a home on it. So you can get a construction loan, uh, especially if you own the property. Just schedule a call with me or shoot me an email. It's at David at VA Housing Education. Again, David at VA Housing Education. And I can connect you with someone that can help you with that because we don't do those. That's like a real specific type of product to be able to do that. What's this one? It's you?
Do you automatically get 70% for PT? No. You still have to meet the criteria for any mental condition 0, 10, 30, 50, 70, and 100. But Abby, check my video that I just did within the last 2 weeks about mental health rating criteria. I can't think of the name of it. But I want to say, I think I called it How to Get 100% for a mental condition, I believe. But what I'll do, Abby, I'm looking at my channel now. I'll put the link for that video that I'm referencing to as it pertains to mental rating for 100%. That's what it is. How to obtain 100% mental rating blueprint by VA Rater, which will be me. I'll put a link to that video for you in the comment section, Abby.
Thank you.
New here, I decided to ask a VSO. VSO stands for uh, Veteran Service Officer or Veteran Service Organization for assistance with submitting an increase for my lower back. You could have done that yourself. She sent me something saying the intent to file was submitted from 21-22. Is it okay? So that's the 2122 is the form that you have to sign giving them permission to represent you. Okay. But if you don't know if you don't know the diagnosis that you service connected for and the diagnostic code for the lower back, I'm gonna go out on a limb. Diagnostic code 5237. And what is the general rating criteria at the 0, 10, 20, and 40%? Where are you service connected? And like I stated earlier, do you meet the criteria for the increase? But you can do the intent to file yourself. Can you get back pay for Chapter 35? Yes, depending on the effective date.
Oh, gotcha.
Mhm.
What's this one?
If a parent, offspring, or both service-connected veterans, does VA cross-check files to look for family history? I don't know what you mean, like family history for the condition.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple
I
in here that I'm not really
yeah,
sure about. Let's go to the one
yeah.
that I do know. Can I recast my VA loan? Just receive some significant back pay. That's a good question. Basically, what that means is that let's say I took out a mortgage for $300,000 and I have a 30-year mortgage. And so what it's basically saying is that if I do a $50,000 down payment, can I actually recast my 30 years and get a lower payment? So you can't do that without doing an actual refinance. But the good news is that if you do a large down payment, but you're comfortable with the monthly payment, you're going to pay off your mortgage significantly faster. So you're still going to save thousands of dollars, potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on your mortgage balance in interest. Jennifer, if you want me to look at like your whole situation, schedule a call with me. I'll go through with you. Probably take us like maybe 5 minutes. I'll ask you a couple questions, then I'll know exactly what you can and can't do. This one's yours.
Once I came with new and relevant evidence from being denied my TBI claim, it shows compensation issue. The A&M told me I needed a higher second signature, maybe because the retroactive pay is big. Okay, you got a lot going on with this right here. We're gonna need that's a whole separate conversation because I got like 3 or 4 questions just off the top of my head here. We're talking about new and relevant evidence. Did you submit a 0995 or you service connected? If you are, did you go in for an increase, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? So that's going to be a different conversation.
Awesome.
Do I need
It's
to
yours.
apply for SMC for clothing? Is if I qualify or they automatic? Hey, good question. Now, this is a benefit through VHA, Veterans Healthcare Administration, through your local VAMC's prosthetic department. They sent a letter out last year where If they gave you one, two, three, or four clothing allowance the year before, there's no need to reapply. They will give you the same this time around. But if it's your first time, you still need to submit that application.
Awesome. This is why, yeah, Jeff had a good thing here. Chris was asking a lot of good questions, right? This is why we do these because it's always other veterans asking questions. We're like, oh man, I didn't even think about asking that. So, all right. I think someone
Yeah,
had
thank
something
you, Chris, for bringing
similar.
up things. Yeah.
Not sure. This one's
Let's
yours.
see. I was getting a denial letter every. I was getting a denial letter every 30 days from the BVA. Now my supplemental claim been in decision phase for 7 months now. I came with the right medical evidence, SMCT on its way, wide body Hellcat on its. Was it? Did he type something else? Or she? Wide
No, let me
body Hellcat.
see. No.
Uh,
I mean, I like the Hellcats. He's talking about the
yeah,
car.
no, right.
Oh, there you go. He added this. I use.
Yeah. So yeah, when you submit that 0995, you need new and relevant evidence. Make sure you go to my YouTube channel, and I do explain what new and relevance is. Hey, Dave, right quick before we stop, want to let everybody know. Make sure you follow me. I did an event, how to win your VA claims event. It was over 4 days back in April. We're doing it again August 13th and 14th. Um, Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We'll be doing posts that you'll see come up. Also, we're going to post it on our website. Also, you can go to our website, sign up for the newsletter, and you'll get notified. So definitely a good event. I know Annette attended it and Chris attended it. So Annette and Chris, if you're still on, put a comment in the comment section and let other veterans know what you thought about that event. Um, Last year, I did it for free. We had 532 people signed up. This year, it was a small fee, and we had, I think, 27 people. But I know Annette and Chris took it once before, so let everybody know what you think about it. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, no, of course. No, thank you. Where was I? This one's for you.
VA sent me combat not verified. I lost all my records, waiting on FOIS. Where else can I get this information? Okay. So understand VA employees do make mistakes. If you were actually in combat, it has to be something in your file, like the Army. You got a 201 file, right? Where they have like when the date, the month, date, and year you went to basic, the month, date, and year you left basic, you went to AIT, from AIT to your first duty station, Konos, and if you were on leave, it has to be something in there. Do you have an Army Achievement Medal or whatever branch you served in? That can all help you um, get the combat service verified.
That's awesome. This was a good one.
Yeah. I think Joe is Hernandez. Joe, are you a real estate agent in Texas or Arizona? I think I remember that picture. But anyway, Dwayne, do you have videos for veterans that miss VA appointments? Of course, the plan is to make all appointments, but I know veterans that miss appointments due to health issues. Oh, I just did one. Good calls. Yes, I call it good calls. And Joe, I will put the link in the comment section for you. Again, that's what Dave and I talked about. But I call this good call, so it might not have come up, but I got you covered. I'll put it. You know what? Wait a minute. Yeah, it just went up yesterday. Just went up
Did it?
yesterday.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll put
Did
it
the
in the comment
magic.
section for you, Joe. Yeah, I'll put the link in the comment section. Good calls. Yep.
All right, this one is for you, and we'll be wrapping things up after this
Yeah.
one.
Do I have to have a diagnosis to file a claim? Example: I've seen a VA doc for IBS, and I have medication that says it's for IBS. I don't know why or how the VA can prescribe meds without no. Okay, just because you get a diagnosis at VHA doesn't mean automatic service connection under VBA. Under the 5 ways of service connection, how would you be filing IBS? If it's on the presumptive, you're good. Yeah, you need a diagnosis, but then also you have to have served in one of those locations. Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
Oh yeah, this one actually. This one's talking about the event.
I love the event. It was very informative. It gave me step by step. Yep. So we're having that again. I just wanted Ned or Chris to talk about it. Instead of 4 days, we're going to do 2 days. A lot of information that I cover in that event. And like I said, just be on the lookout. We will be posting on send out links, posts, all that stuff, so you can get notified and get signed up. Joe,
That's
I'm
awesome.
hooking you up with the link.
Chris says, thanks for the knowledge Dave's given. I can tell he's definitely going to be the main part of how and why I'm able to get another property in Texas in the future. For sure. Yeah, definitely reach out. Happy to answer any questions. I tell people it's never too early, especially if you're thinking like a year out, major game changing moves. You want to know where you stand today. We've been preaching that for a long time. A lot of people are like, I'm going to wait. But right now, we have a lot of people that are like, hey, in 6 months to a year, I want to move. I want to do this. Can my financial picture do it? I just got my disability compensation last month. What do I do with the money? How do I pay off my bills? How do I get my credit, but do it in a smart way? So we do a lot of that education. There's no cost to do that, right? We want to be able to at least talk with you and walk you through that path. So I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining Dwayne and I tonight and taking time out of your evening and spending it with us. And please share our information to the veteran community around housing and filing disability because it's important to know how it works.
Yep. And Joe did say he was in Texas, so I was
Did he?
partial,
I saw that. Yeah. So, Dwayne, you want to close it out?
No, just everybody give Dave a round of applause. Like Dave said, we connected last year. He reached out to me on LinkedIn. We had a conversation. I had a lot going on. I ended up calling back, and we linked up, and we just started coming up with ideas, and like the 12-hour live streams. And I was like, hey, let's just do some live streams together. And the information that he's given me a lot of information, as it pertains to the VA home loan process. And trust me, he's a wealth of knowledge. And I think Chris and some of the other people that follow us, they know the value in this knowledge. And at the end of the day, we're here 7 o'clock my time, 6 o'clock Dave's time. Dave has an infant, and we're doing a lot of research and putting good content out there, and it's free.
Right.
It's free. You just got to invest the time. So I'll leave it there.
Awesome. Well,
So
thanks
everybody
again,
give
everyone.
Dave applause. Yeah.
Yeah, have a good evening, and we'll talk to you guys pretty soon.